Testing Manager uses EdClick forms for collecting information from proctors, testing coordinators, principals, and others. You can access forms in the Initiate and Manage Forms section of the Testing Manager admin page. Click on Edit Forms to see a list of forms. Many different types of forms can be built with the Forms package. For example, this is a technology work order. It has a simple layout. The name of each form item is here in the left column of the form. The items themselves, where the data is entered, are on the right-hand side of the page. This sort of form is convenient for data collection, surveys, and so on. In addition to this tabular arrangement, forms can have formatted templates. For example, here is the form for an oath of test security. Notice that unlike the simple table format of the work order form that we looked at a moment ago, this form has form items embedded in surrounding text. For example, one form item is labeled Check Each Statement and has a number of statements with checkboxes, each of which must be checked. It has another form item at the bottom of the form labeled Signature. This allows the user to enter an electronic signature to sign the form. States typically require oaths like this to be signed by testing coordinators, test proctors, principals, and others who handle test materials. Not only are staff members required to sign these forms, but the school district is required to keep the signed forms for a specified number of years. Advantages of gathering these forms electronically are that they are easy to distribute to staff members, easy to store, and easy to identify which forms you have and which you have requested but do not yet have. Forms with electronic signatures have the same legal status as a piece of paper with a signature on it. The electronic signature identifies the person who is signing the form by the fact that they have logged onto the system with an identifying username and password. It also records the date and time that the electronic signature was entered. One possible point of confusion over two similar terms that you may have heard: electronic signatures and digital signatures. They are not the same. Electronic signatures are a way for a person known to you, typically through an account protected with a username and password, to verify that he or she has seen and has intended to take some action on a document. In our case, the electronic signature is proof of identity through the logon that he or she intends to agree to an oath to comply with the testing rules. A digital signature, on the other hand, is a specific technology based on encryption for demonstrating the authenticity of a digital document. We are dealing with electronic signatures here, not digital signatures. An electronic signature can be entered by the person who is signing the form, or it can be entered by an authorized designee or an administrative person who is stating that a written signature is available offline. In that case, the identity of the designee is verified and it is recorded that this electronic signature was entered by a designee. Since all staff members will have internet access to sign their own forms, designee signatures will be uncommon. However, electronic signatures by designees may be more common when collecting signatures from parents, some of whom may not have internet access. Let's look at how one can edit a form. Click on the Edit link across from the name of the form. The form editor comes up. The form items and form template can ordinarily be edited from this page. However, forms that contain electronic signatures have a special characteristic. Forms containing electronic signatures must be published before valid electronic signatures can be collected for them. Publishing a form makes it read-only. A form can no longer be changed once it is published. The reason this is necessary is to prevent the form from being modified after the user has attached his or her electronic signature to it. Otherwise, signing an electronic form would be similar to signing a blank check. Let's look at an example of a form that has not been published. Here is an example of a form that has not been published. Notice the watermark in the background that says draft and not ready for signatures. This indicates that the form has not yet been published and should not be signed. The draft watermark also informs a reader of the form that it has not yet been published. So if it does contain an electronic signature, the signature is not to be taken as valid. If we are happy with this form and wish to publish it, we can click on Edit and then check the box that says Publish this form. Note that the user is warned that publishing cannot be undone. Once published, the form cannot be changed. In addition, if there are any electronic signatures that have been collected for the form prior to it being published, those electronic signatures are assumed to have been for testing purposes in draft mode and are deleted. So to publish the form, we would check the Publish This Form box and then go to the bottom of the page and click Save. The draft watermark will no longer appear on the form, and any electronic signatures affixed to the form after being published will be valid. Now that we have published the form, we can go back and take a look at it and see that the draft watermark no longer appears. As mentioned above, forms can be signed in two ways. Most commonly, the form is signed by the person who is logged on and viewing the form. The other way is for users who have special authorization to sign forms as designees to enter an electronic signature. In that case, the name of the person who is being signed for is selected from the drop-down menu. When the form is submitted, the system identifies the fact that the person signing the form does not match the name selected in the drop-down menu. However, since the person signing the form is authorized as a designee to sign for others, the electronic signature is entered as one signed by an authorized designee. Harry Tennant is authorized on this system to sign forms as a designee. So I will check the boxes on the form, select a name from the drop-down menu, Mary Army, and then submit the form. Notice that the electronic signature has changed to indicate a signature for Mary Army signed by authorized designee Harry Tennant, including the date and time and annotated by paper signature on file or signed by designee. That's how electronic signatures work.